Being product-led is the holy grail in SaaS right now. Think about it. Being able to scale your SaaS business, get new customers, convert them to revenue without expensive salespeople, that sounds incredible. That sounds amazing. And if you're in that product-led journey, in the early stages, you may get to a point where you're not quite sure where it's broken. People are coming in, they're trying, but not all of them are converting to revenue. So here's a big question. What metrics do you track for a proper product-led growth experience? How do you optimize those metrics? If you're doing product-led, do you still need marketing? What about salespeople? Do you put salespeople on the back end? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know on how to build a product-led experience that converts to real revenues and scales your SaaS business. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, that way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. So I remember when I first started to get conversions for ToutApp. ToutApp was my last SaaS business, and it started off as product-led. Later on, we added a whole sales team around it, and we raised money from Andreessen Horowitz and scaled that growth. But in the early days, I rigged it so every single time someone went through the trial experience and then swiped their credit card at the end of it, I would get a text message which would make a cash register noise saying, cha-ching, someone just signed up for the paid plan. It was an incredible feeling, and to this day, for every SaaS business that I operate, that still is true. I get a little text message with the cash register noise saying that we have a new customer and that a payment is getting processed. It's the best feeling ever. However, here's the thing. Between someone discovering your product all the way to converting to revenue, a whole bunch of things happen. And it can often be a black box. And if you don't break it down into specific pieces, it can be very easy to get lost in the process and not really know how you can scale your product-led experience. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles you absolutely need to know to properly track the right metrics and how to optimize them so you can scale the growth of your product-led SaaS business. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And let's dig into principle number 0, which is the framework. Principle number 0, the framework, is I always think of the product-led experience as a core funnel. I think of everything as a funnel. Some marketers will tell you that funnels are dead. They're just trying to sell you something. Funnels have existed since the beginning of time. It's a process that you take your best customers through so they convert to revenue and they get value for your product. And thinking in terms of funnels is the best way to actually optimize something you are delivering to customers. So I always think of it as a funnel, and the 3 principles are broken down into key inflection points in the funnel for a product-led machine. Principle number 1 in the funnel is these 2 pieces. And sometimes people conflate these 2. The first piece is traffic. And I'll explain the distinction between the 2. The second piece is acquisition. So you got traffic and you got acquisition. What's the difference? When someone discovers your product, maybe they end up on the website or they end up in this product-led experience where you don't have to sign up for anything and you're just kind of there. That's traffic. That's actual people coming in and discovering your product. One of the biggest misconceptions that people have and founders have is that if you're product-led, you don't need any marketing. And that's not true. At the end of the day, in order for your product to lead the growth for your company, you need people discovering the product in the first place. It's the same thing as a salesperson. In order for the salesperson to close deals, they need demos. In order for the product to close deals, you need traffic. You need eyeballs actually discovering your product. So that's traffic. This could be website visits. This could be landing on the sign-up experience for your product. It could be any one of those things. It's just essentially awareness that you're building in the market. Acquisition is subtly different. Acquisition is where people are saying, okay, I want to start a trial, or I want to start using this product, or I want to start to explore exactly what's going on in this process. Or maybe I want to download this manifesto, which tells me more about the product, and then I can get into the product from there. So a lot of times people conflate these 2 and just say, oh, we have signups. And that's not enough to really help you understand what's moving and what's not in your product-led process. You want to first think in terms of traffic, how many people are discovering what you're selling. And then you want to think about acquisition. How many people are looking at that message, looking at that marketing message essentially and saying, oh yeah, I have this problem, I want to solve this. And they click the button to actually start that product-led experience, and that's acquisition. There are some nuances as you work through your go-to-market strategy. You might say traffic is how many people end up on your website, and acquisition is how many people actually start the trial button. Other people might have a different type of funnel. They say, look, we don't care about the website. We want to throw them right into the product. So maybe they run an ad that leads to a manifesto that gets them into the product. And so in that kind of scenario, you have traffic that's essentially people that are landing on the manifesto landing page. Acquisition is they become a lead, and then they get in the product from there, and that's the subsequent steps. This is a little bit nuanced. It depends on how you're actually marketing your product to get them into the product-led experience. But then you can actually start to break it down and say, cool, where are people getting stuck? So once you have principle number one, traffic and acquisition, then comes principle number two. And a lot of people think it's revenue, and it's not. Now, spoiler, number three is revenue, but if you watch till the end of this video, I'll explain exactly how to think about revenue, retention, and what to watch out for at this stage. But right now, between acquisition and revenue is where most people just think of it as a black box, but you have to break it down. The biggest thing you want to think about at this point is what we call activation. So let's just say you have a product-led SaaS business and people end up on your website. From the website, they say start free trial, and from the start free trial, they get into your product, and then they have a 7-day trial. Now, a lot of times people will just measure the percentage of people that signed up for the trial and what percentage of them converted to revenue. That is where a lot of founders and a lot of teams go wrong. You want to think about is activation first. You want to look at how many people took meaningful action inside of the product. So in the Tout App days, you would sign up for the product, pretty easy to do that, but we only counted activation when they sent a test email, used a template, and also opened the live feed to track the emails that were sent. Those three activities counted as activation. And the reason this was super important is we knew that unless as soon as they start the trial, if we don't get them activated in the product and they don't get to some sort of an aha moment, we don't stand a chance at getting them to revenue, which is why we architected the entire product experience, those first 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds of them starting a trial to optimize it so that they actually activate. And time after time, we looked at what percentage of people were signing up and what percentage were activating and made product improvements to improve the activation rate. The higher the activation rate, the more likely that they'll convert to revenue. A lot of folks skip this part. They don't instrument this the right way. They don't track it in the product. They don't think about what is our new user experience. One of the biggest things I think about is think of your product as the best salesperson you could ever hire. The best salesperson you could ever hire would give the customer a true tour of the product, help them understand the benefits of the product, help uncover their problems, guide them through the process. Your product needs to be able to do that. And the way you measure how good it is at doing that is this activation flow. The third one is revenue, spoiler, but there's some nuances to this. And there's some nuances on how do you think about this overall funnel all the way to revenue and what should the benchmarks be. So I'm gonna cover that, but before I go to principle number 3, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Are you starting to see the power where from a product-led experience, you still need marketing, that's traffic. You still need to instrument different inflection points in that experience. And when you break it down into these pieces, it makes it so much more actionable for you to say, okay, cool, what part of our funnel do we want to improve? Is it the part where we're getting enough people to discover our product? Is it getting enough people where they actually say, yeah, I have this problem, this message resonates with me, I want to start a trial? Or is it the part where they start a trial, but then they don't use the product or they don't get to that aha moment? These are actionable pieces you can break down. So if you start to see the power of this simple framework, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, if you're in the stage where you're looking to drive growth for your SaaS business, and you're looking for key ways to drive that growth, I encourage you to grab a completely free copy of my 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. It's an incredible piece of content. It connects to all the other videos I have in this channel. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Let's go to principle number 3, where all of this comes together. All right, and also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves you when you do that. Okay, principle number 3, spoiler alert, is the revenue. This is where the revenue kicks in. Because we're operating SaaS businesses, it's not just revenue, it's recurring revenue. So renewal is also important. It's not okay if they just pay for a month of product. You want them to keep using it, and you want them to actually look at the fact that they're getting value from it. Otherwise, it's just like they'll churn in 3 months, but that doesn't make a compounding business. The biggest thing that you really want to look at is out of the people that showed up on the website, what percentage actually became a trial user or became a lead? You would then want to look at what percentage of people activated in the product, and then you want to look at what percentage of people converted to revenue, and of course, what percentage of people converted the subsequent months to more revenue and maybe even expansion. This is where it gets fun. A lot of people will ask, well, TK, what should the benchmark be? The biggest thing I can tell you is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the benchmark is. What matters is you know what these percentages are. So start tracking them. And every single week, figure out how you can improve that percentage. That's all that matters. You just want to fill the gap. If you can get your team's mindset to a point of, all right, how do we increase the amount of traffic that gets into the trial experience? Or how do we make it where every single sign up actually activates in the product? How do we revamp our new user experience? Or in order to convert them to revenue, we need to make sure they keep coming back to use the product. We need to make sure we educate them on how to use the product. It's not just an event where they say, oh, here's the credit card. I love you guys. Take all my money. It has to get there. What are the series of steps? What are the email nurture sequences? What are the follow-up sequences? Maybe you get on an onboarding call. Maybe you put a salesperson on the back end after the first month and see if you can expand the deal. Those are all little nuances on this third principle. But the biggest thing I can tell you in this is just establish the baseline every single week. So say week 1, week 2, week 3, basically say what is the percentage for each of these. And every single week, figure out 1 or 2 experiments that you can run to either increase traffic, increase acquisition, increase activation, or increase revenue. That's where it gets really fun. So I come from an engineering background, so I learned how to code first, and then I learned sales and marketing, go-to-market. I embrace founder-led go-to-market because, let's be honest, no one else is gonna do it. You gotta figure out how to do it in the early stages. And once you get good at it, they can recruit incredible people and get more capital, and all those things come together. I got really hooked on this. The reason I fell in love with marketing is because my engineering mindset opened up when I looked at marketing as almost an engineering problem. I said, cool, what are the numbers and how do I improve it over time? And what are the experiments that I run? And I make it better and better every single week. These percentages get better and better, and I have an incredible machine in the end. The coolest part about this is the most successful SaaS companies aren't pure play product-led companies. What they do is they use product-led to actually get initial customers. And then on the back end, they take their salespeople and say, cool, here are our most high potential customers that are paying. Let's go figure out how we can upgrade them to bigger tiers, expand their usage to the rest of the organization, or just make sure that they renew effectively. That's where the money really comes in with salespeople. So you can start with product-led, which completely changes your cost structure for growing your SaaS business. And then you can actually put salespeople and CSMs on the back end to expand that revenue and increase this percentage, which is super powerful. That's my framework for actually growing SaaS companies that are product-led. And you could be sales-led, and maybe adding a product-led experience upfront can actually improve it. You also need to make sure you actually have marketing. Without marketing, your product will never be discovered, no one will enter the experience, no one will get acquired or activated or convert to revenue. So you need both. So to recap, principle number 1 is to measure traffic and acquisition and look at them separately. Traffic is eyeballs discovering your product. Acquisition is where they're getting into the product or getting into your manifesto and then into your product. And then principle number 2 is thinking about activation. Before revenue is considered, you need to get them to an aha moment. So what's the new user experience to get them to activation, to get them to use the product? If you don't know what it should be for every single sign up, do an onboarding call and walk them through it, and you'll know very quickly on where they're getting stuck. Once you get the activation improving, then you can set up the follow-up sequences, the nurture sequences, the training, whatever is needed to ensure daily use of the product so they convert to revenue. And then you can figure out if you put salespeople or CSMs on the other end to drive up renewals, expansions, and upsells so they become a customer for life. That's a simple framework, but it's incredibly powerful. I've done it over and over. And now you know the exact metrics to look at, how you still need marketing, and how to optimize them over time so that you can scale your SaaS business. What you may not know is, all right, TK, I can establish these metrics. I can convince myself to spend months figuring out how do I improve activation. I just need this one more feature. Or how do I get traffic? How do I actually get people to discover my product? This is where you need a proper go-to-market strategy. So to learn more on how to build a proper go-to-market strategy, how to drive growth for your SaaS business, where more people are discovering your product, getting into this flow and getting into this funnel so you can get more data and improve it over time and get more customers, you need more traffic. To learn how to do that, you should grab a completely free copy of my 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. All you have to do is just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy and get access to the guide right away. It's an incredible guide. It's some of my best content. It directs you to other pieces of content that I have on this channel, teach you the principles, and gives you 5 key ways you can drive growth for your SaaS business. So just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy and also link to it below. If you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. We put a lot of love into these videos. If you have a fellow founder, if you're part of a WhatsApp group, a Slack group, or a community of other founders that get value from this video, please share this with them. It'll just mean the world to us. I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon where you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you next episode or inside the 5-point SaaS Growth Strategy Guide. Say that 10 times fast. Take care, everybody. This marker is slowly dying, so I'm going to switch to a different one. Let's see. We will go with red right now. That's good.